Meeting to order. All rise. Pledge of allegiance and moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Moment of silence. And alrighty, we are off to the races. Reminders for each agenda item. We will have 2 minutes of public comment on that agenda item if people wish. At the end, we will have 3 minutes of public comment on items, preferably not that were already covered, but, you know, if you need time, you got time. Item 1, request approval to renew Zoom subscription and authorize Mike Rowley to sign. Who's Health and Wellness? That doesn't look like Mike.
No, we are very, very different looking. Mike is currently in the process. We're starting our behavioral health audit with OHA. So you get me this morning, commissioners. I apologize.
Well, that's okay.
We're requesting board to
It
approve.
wouldn't be a very good day.
I love you too. We request the board to approve Zoom subscription renewal of $16,145.70 and authorize Department Head Mike Rowley to sign the purchase
I
order.
move we approve the Zoom subscription renewal for $16,145.70 and authorize Department Head Mike Rowley to sign the purchase order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion on the board.
Dr. Gleason, do you guys have any calculus on what that $16,000 subscription to Zoom saves Coos Health and Wellness in terms of any other expenses? Should staff be required to meet in person?
Ooh, you're thinking travel time, you'd be talking.
I don't have that. I can give you some, I can try to go back and find some rough numbers if that's what you like, Commissioner. I do know that it does save time for not just our therapists in some cases, but our clients that can't necessarily always make it to the building. It gives us an opportunity to have actual therapy sessions with clients that are unable to physically make it into the building, which happens from time to time, as well as the ability for in transition periods of therapy providers or psychiatric providers, when we often will lose a provider and we need to fill in time with like a locum provider that isn't on site. That also gives us the opportunity to remain, keep our clients receiving those services. I don't have the numbers in which you're asking for, but I can try to find some.
And I asked the question just in anticipation of the question being asked of us.
Sure.
You know, there are lower cost, there are free options to meet online. I don't know what limitations you guys are working with in that regard. I think that there are limitations to those free accesses. We all understand that, and I just wanted to get the question out there in anticipation.
So one of those would be that we've done a number of looking into other options and other platforms throughout the years, especially a couple years ago when you had asked us to specifically look for some. The freer options, the one problem that we found to be the biggest hurdle is the HIPAA aspect of it. Zoom is HIPAA certified so that we can continue to have those, private and very like medically driven appointments through Zoom, and we're covered in case anything were to happen.
Interesting that Zoom would be HIPAA certified with its Chinese ownership. There seems to be a little bit of a disconnect between that and the DJI drone situation. So, yeah, interesting.
We do try not to use drones for therapy sessions.
Indeed. Glad to hear that. Yep. Thank you, Eric.
I remember when I was a supported employment specialist, having a remote option would have been very helpful. There are a lot of clients in North Bend and Coos Bay, but when you get one in Powers, it really cuts into your day.
Well, in the severe and persistent mentally ill clientele that we work with, some can be very difficult to just leave their house.
Yeah, there were shut-ins as well.
Yep.
So that's an important option to have. Any further discussion on us? Anybody in the community interested in discussing the item of Zoom? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And move to the next one.
Thank you, commissioners.
Yep, have fun.
Thanks.
Request approval of seedling management contract, adopt sole source findings, and authorize Lance Morgan to sign. Forestry. Lance, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Already back hard at it.
Had my face buried in my appraisals. Get the right one here. Which one is it? B. I got two of those. Is this the PRT? GR125. That must be this one.
PRT
Okay, thank you.
contract.
All right. Coos County Forestry has a need of seedlings which can be grown at PRT Nursery. We are able to obtain space to grow 75,000 plug seedlings to be sown in the spring of 2026. The seedlings would be lifted and planted early 2027. The total cost for this contract is $43,500.
I move we authorize the forester to sign the attached seedling management contract with sole source contractor PRT USA Incorporated in the amount of $43,500.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? We had talked a while back about procuring a new contractor. Is this the one?
That's the one, yeah.
Awesome. Discussion amongst the community. Seeing none,
Maybe you could talk a little bit about plug seedlings as opposed to bare root
Okay.
seedlings.
Sure.
Show the advantages.
Well, the best advantage we got, it's an easier tree to plant. It comes in a little, it's been grown in a little container about that big around and about this long. And it plants fast and it's got a little bit of fertilizer in it, so it grows really fast. So when we get it in the ground, it goes up, it gets a good head start for the first year to try to, and then the second, third year to try to get out of that browsing stage where the animals like to eat our trees.
Thank you.
and we replant those about as quick as we can after we harvest, correct?
Yeah, this year we planted one. I was out of town, but they probably planted within a week of they were done logging.
It's a question I get a lot is, after we strip it, when do we replant?
Yeah, we try to do it, real fast.
Good.
Isn't that question normally phrased as some kind of an accusation, Mr. Chair?
Sometimes.
Why don't you guys? Yeah.
Oh, I get that.
Occasionally.
Sometimes, we'll have 3 or 4 year old plantation of trees this big. People say, when are you going to plant that? It's like,
Yeah.
I think it's
When are you
done.
going to get some binoculars?
Yeah.
They are, the seedlings are hard to see when you're driving
Oh, yeah.
by until
Yeah.
they grow a bit.
Yeah, when you've done it as long as I have, though, you can see, you kind of know what to look for.
Like the assessor mentions, once you know what a landmark looks like, you can't stop seeing them.
Yep, yeah.
Alrighty. There was no discussion elsewise. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We got more for you. Request award of growing agreement, GR 125.
Attaches a copy of a growing agreement, GR 1-25, with J. Herbert Stone Nursery to grow approximately 25,000 Douglas fir seedlings. The seedlings will be planted in early 2028. And the reason we have a second one is, there's more than one reason, but somebody told me years ago, a forestry professional told me, you try not to put all your eggs in the same basket. And this also keeps, if PRT was to go out of business for any reason, we have our foot in the door at Stone Nursery also, we could start growing more with them if we had to. So we kind of have a small contract with them.
Good.
I move that we award and sign the attached growing agreement to J. Herbert Stone Nursery in the amount of $12,375.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
The Herbert Stone Nursery. Those are plugs also.
No, them are bare root.
Okay. Do they not offer the plug option?
No, they don't. That they do when they do have a plug one, but then they actually, the same company that grows our plugs, they get them from them and then put them in the ground for a year. And they've had a hard time growing trees for some reason in recent years.
It's been drier, hasn't it?
Now over there, in Central Point, it can get too hot in the summer, and they can have mortality in the seed beds just then too.
Those are the ones that delivered us a bunch of
Yep.
seedlings that we had a large percentage unusable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
but just in case, we keep them on the line.
Yep.
It looks like their per unit price is pretty close to the same,
Yeah,
not too far off.
Not too far off,
about
no.
50 cents a piece.
yeah.
Interesting.
There used to be a lot more nurseries around. I mean, there was even one just south of Bandon, and it was a really good one, but most of them have gone out of business.
Okay. Discussion in the community about this. I know some folks are interested in the trees.
None of them here today.
Yeah. No, I know there are.
That's
but-
because we do such a good, there's nothing to question. We do such a good job.
Well, that is fair. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And you're off the hook, it looks like.
Nope,
Are
got
you?
one more.
Oh, nope. Request approval of agreement to transport and placement of soil. Authorize Lance Morgan to sign.
The Coquille Watershed Association is working on a wetland restoration project along East Beaver Hill Road and has requested to transport and place approximately 20,000 cubic yards of soil on Coos County forest land. This portion of the Coos County forest is the location of an old gas drill site in which we have been unsuccessful in previous reforestation restoration attempts. So this is that area, when you go up Beaver Hill, just before you get to 101, kind of a grassy area on the left-hand side there. When they rehabbed the drill site, they took a lot of the rock off, but then they pushed topsoil over top. It's only about this deep, and we've tried several times to plant trees, and they just don't grow. You'll see a little island back in the corner or some alder. We've tried conifers and alder both, and so far the only thing we've had luck with is gorse and scotch broom. And we've been spraying that. But this, what all this soil is going to be is basically silt topsoil down that field, right? We turn up East Beaver Hill, that field right there. They want to make a project there, so I think it'll improve that side up there so we can grow trees on it again.
How much depth will you think?
I think
that
they
would
said
be?
8 feet,
Ooh,
Wow.
that ought to do it.
hopefully.
Oh, my heavens.
We'll terrace it a little bit. We'll make it look kind of like a hilltop. Instead of flat, it'll just maybe make a couple little mounds in there or something.
Drainage, too. I move we approve and authorize the forester Lance Morgan to sign the attached transport and placement of soil agreement.
Second.
Motion and a second. I think we might have already done discussion. Discussion in the community. Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lance.
And we're on to approval of resolution to transfer funds. District Attorney. You're in luck. Colton's out today, so there's room for the one attorney
Your
allotment.
attorney threshold
Yep.
is not met. Good morning,
Good morning.
Jody Newby, District Attorney. As you just said, we're here asking for a transfer of funds. So as you're aware, former District Attorney Paul Frazier stayed on as a special prosecutor to help basically finish a case involving a child sex abuse ring that kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and adding more and more defendants. So the money that we had set aside to cover his pay was essentially used up because we kept adding more and more defendants as the investigation continued. And the case is continuing. So we are asking, because we've exhausted all of those funds, and due to all of the murders, we don't have any funds to transfer from evidence. And we're basically out of money. So we're asking for $10,500 in appropriations to cover the remaining invoices and pay for other bills in that line item. Money coming from funding source 9,900, miscellaneous department, materials and service, out of the general fund.
Mr. Chair, move to approve and sign Resolution 26-02012B, transferring $10,500 from the general fund 9,900.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I just want to publicly again thank Paul Fraser for his tireless work, selfless engagement to finish up these couple of cases.
Yes.
Agreed to work out the rest of the year as required to finish that job at no cost. Pro bono. It's amazing and incredible. And
Thank you.
and to you for
Thank you.
Take that.
How many
appreciate it.
states has that ring reached now? Wondering.
I guess two technically. It's
Okay.
mostly just here in Coos County.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I guess where the vehicle ended up. Yeah. It kind of, the same case kind of traveled around a couple states.
California and Washington.
But, no, it was like,
Arizona and Tennessee.
yeah, but that's not where the defendants are from. It's all
Okay.
essentially here. It's just some of the evidence traveled around a bit.
Well, that's disturbing. All right.
Yeah, that's not great news, but we're working on it.
At least we're finding them. All in favor?
I,
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot community discussion. All righty.
we have some.
Yeah, what you got?
Is there any way to?
Oh, you got to mic it.
Is there any way to ask for state or federal support on this case, financial support?
Jody?
That I don't understand.
Like money? Is
Money,
it-
yeah.
She's asking if there are monetary.
Is there any
the
way
only
to?
the only way that, well, the federal wouldn't make any sense at all because there's no federal case. So no, federally.
Even if it going
State-
across state lines?
It didn't in the sense of the case.
Okay.
So no, it's not a federal case.
Okay.
And state-wise, we're handling the case, so we don't need the AG's office to handle the case. So
It's worth checking on. But
yeah.
Yeah, if it's a no.
yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
it'd be awesome if the state gave us more money and the feds gave us more money, but
Yeah.
There's no,
unfortunately not.
sadly they occasionally will help us by covering cases, which we appreciate.
Oh.
But they don't really give us money in that sense. They do, like the FBI in this particular case has done some work, and they'll help with the investigation. So in that sense, they do.
It's like an in-kind.
Yeah. So they help, with forensic analysis, and federal partners help apprehend people, and like the U.S. Marshals and the FBI, and so they're all kind of in that sense helping pay because they're paying for themselves to do their own work. We don't pay them, so in that respect they do, but sadly there's not a pool of money to help us out.
Did that U.S. attorney that I talked to ever reach out to you about, helping with? I forgot what his title is, the fancy one.
No, I talked to the U.S. Attorney's Office, like I think we talked about it. I talked to the
Yeah.
U.S. Attorney's Office a lot because we have separate jurisdiction, so they can't really help in a sense, like because I can prosecute the same person that they're prosecuting at the same time. We can both prosecute someone. So we have a number of defendants where we're both prosecuting the same defendant, so we work together closely on coming up with resolutions together. But they don't typically take our cases because we can both prosecute them because we have separate jurisdiction.
Okay.
So
I needed to
occasionally-
talk to them again anyway. So
Yeah, so they're very helpful and we work closely with them, but we have completely separate jurisdiction, meaning we can both prosecute people at the same time.
I took a tangent.
That's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep. Request approval for VAC 25001 petition Durbin. Jill, how we doing?
Fine, how are you?
Oh, good.
Good morning. So Joe Rolfe, Community Development Director. Today, I'm here to ask for adoption of order number 26-02-011PL. It's in the matter of Coos County file number vacation BAC-25-001. It's a petition to vacate a 12-foot alley fronting and abutting lots 5 through 18, Block 5 of the plat of Sunset City. And I think you have all the documents in front of you, including the order. There weren't any issues that came up. It was found to be in the public's interest.
I move that we adopt order number 26-02-011PL.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
We love vacations.
I would love to take one.
Discussions in the community. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank
you,
you.
Joe. Next one. Lease termination agreement with Coos Writers Associate. Oh, council's not here.
I can do this. I think.
Okay.
All right, this proposed lease termination agreement would terminate the lease held by Coos Riders Association at the Riley Ranch motocross track, effective April 25, 2026. The county is exploring its options for the track, which may include a successor lease commencing in May.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the lease termination agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I want to thank the Coos Riders Association for what they've done in creating and managing the motocross track at Riley Ranch. But it's kind of become too much for the group, or anyway, they've not been doing as much as is necessary to make that available to the public as much as it should be. So they've decided to give up their lease, and we are negotiating with someone else to take on the lease of running and managing the motocross. So that's what this is all about.
All righty. Discussion in the community. Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Well, I was going to say thank you. Let's see. Approve addendum to listing contract for Carl Road property and authorize chair to sign.
Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and up. This addendum is to the listing contract with Pacific Properties for the Carl Road property off of Shingle House. Would entitle Pacific Properties to listing compensation equal to 1.5% of the property's sale price. Compensate the broker for their time spent marketing the property prior to the county withdrawing the listing. So we're basically offering compensation for the time invested. Sale went a
I move we approve the addendum to the listing contract and authorize chair to sign.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
It is only fair to compensate somebody for their work invested. And this is something that was previously discussed in executive session, I believe, and so the decision comes before us today. Great thing.
All righty. Discussion in the public? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And we are on to request approval of First Amendment to Business Oregon Grant Agreement for Fair Pavilion Project and authorize chair to sign.
Y'all take this one as well, Mr.
Aye.
Chair. So this is an amendment to alter the name of the grant that has been funded at the county fairgrounds, funded by Business Oregon Grant. And this project is for the food pavilion, the eating pavilion, to project to the project to an open air pergola project. So in other words, it was a fully covered project. Now it is simply the timber frame, and this is a financial approach. Cost for the total building project came in over estimates and exceeded the amount of the grant. So we're altering the grant in order to make it work within the budgetary limitations that we have. And thanks to no small amount of donated materials from Sproul Timber, as well as from Kinchlow.
Kinslow.
We appreciate the donation of rock and trucking time from Kinchlow and the timber framing, as well as a 2x6 cedar sheathing for the roof to come in a later phase of the project from Sprout. So thanks to those two entities, as well as, again, the fair volunteers that jump in and make this work with untold numbers of personal hours donated to the cause of the fair. So our appreciation couldn't be greater.
I move we approve the granted amendment and authorize our chair to sign.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I believe this to be a 40 by 60
40 by 60. Yep.
structure. It will be located centrally to where most of the fair food wagons are. And
North end of the Midway.
ultimately, when it has a roof, we had a grant that had to be used by a certain date, and it ended up being for not enough money to complete the project. So we turned the pavilion into a pergola temporarily.
Pierogi.
Until we get more money to finish the roof. And, but it'll be a nice addition to our fairgrounds.
Yeah. Again, to reiterate, appreciation for the volunteers, the donations. It's been very surprising. I didn't realize how much is donated and volunteered to the fair. Those volunteers, it might as well be their full-time job for zero pay. It's very impressive. Discussion in the community. Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that takes us to the consent calendar.
I move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Discussion in community? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And any late agenda items? I don't believe so.
No?
That's a rare occasion. And that takes us to commissioner reports. I'll pick on John.
Really, I have none, but I would like to go back to the fair, and Rod has been the liaison to the fairgrounds, and they've done a spectacular job down there of upgrading the grounds. Over the past 10 years, Rod, I couldn't venture a guess of the dollars, but there's been a 3/4 of an acre animal barn made for 4-H.
Thank you.
Replacing a tent that we had to rent every year, which replaced a barn that was about ready to fall down. They've upgraded the rodeo arena significantly. They've upgraded they've revitalized the barn, the horse barns, tore down the failing old food, sadly, I guess, court, or where we had the Grange and the Boy Scouts and other people. They've been there forever. It was sad, but it was going to fall down. Lots and lots of, and a new, perhaps most spectacularly, a new outdoor venue for concerts. They've hauled in a lot of dirt, sloped a large piece of ground from the back down towards the stage. They've elevated the ground, poured a concrete slab. It's big. Jill, do you remember how large that is? Huge stage. And they're looking this year to add sound and lighting, and then ultimately to have the stage permanently there. They bring in a portable stage each year and erect that. But they're doing an amazing job. We have a fairground that was in disrepair, and use and enthusiasm was lagging, and it's brought it back to life. I'm very proud of what our fair board and our volunteers have done. Go to the fair this year. See for yourselves.
Rod?
Yeah, well, I was out the last week, so there's not a lot of activity to report on, but I was surprised somewhat to find messages incoming that I presume are going to be addressed in public comments to come in a few minutes. So I'll just take a little preemptive course down that track. The controversial issue in question was apparently some comments by colleague Commissioner Farmer, Chair Farmer, and regarding the possibility of Department of Homeland Security examining Coos County as a potential location for an immigration and customs enforcement detention center or housing facility. That's apparently been something of a controversy topic up Newport, I think somewhere else as well. Unfortunately, the whole topic is shrouded and clouded with misinformation and emotionalism that I don't think is appropriate in a republic based on the rule of law. Fact of the matter is that over the last 4 years, the 4 years of the Biden administration, there were millions upon millions of unvetted immigrants led across the Mexican border. Among those, a number of people who had been released from prison facilities in Central and South America, a number of people who had come in and conducted incursion on our border, who were of a terroristic stripe, many unaccounted for. And the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of criminal elements in our society that don't belong here, not entered legally, and we do need to have a by which to detain and work these. This county is in dire need of any kind of economic activity that we can generate. I personally believe construction, development, operation of such a detention facility in Coos County is actually something that sits well with the majority of voters in Coos County, despite the propensity of comments that we received. The fact of the matter is that the majority of comments that I received personally is in favor of such. So I'm sure this is going to be discussed much more here this morning, but I just wanted to support the idea. And as a matter of fact, it was a little bit of a pleasant surprise to find that Commissioner Farmer had expressed an idea like that, because about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I actually sent a letter to DHS asking them to look at Coos County as a possible location for building such a facility, and I hope that that's all I have.
Note after that, it's been questioned whether or not I had enough information to be concerned. Possible after 10 years, I've developed some kind of intuition for when something might be happening. I didn't know about that until recently. What I was looking at was that I am aware ICE has looked at us in the past as a location, along with Newport and one other county. I don't want them to get all the excitement, so I'm going to leave out the other's name. They were third choice by a distance. Coos County was second choice, which gives me a reason to be concerned. And Newport was first choice, which we've seen that did not happen, which gave me the reason to be concerned for Coos County. Additionally, I'm aware that one of the Coast Guard bases within Coos County has received less funding this year, which gave me concern being aware of Newport's situation, that maybe that facility was being prepped to be downsized in favor of something that would be a little more challenging for the community. And of course, in a similar time frame to that, the lawyers for Newport reached out to Coos County about holding a meeting about what to do if ICE looks our direction. So across the main three issues, and now knowing the fourth, I feel I did have a reason to look at this as something that was potentially coming and something I would want to mitigate. I'll be clear, I don't approve of how ICE has operated around the county. I have concerns. Anytime I hear something is a surge, I have concerns. I was enlisted from 05 to 09. That was the surge for Iraq. I saw how that went for people. It did not go well. Did not go well for the government either. You can find news articles from that time frame where they were finding LA gang tags on buildings in Baghdad because the government became very lax in who it hired, because that's what it does when it says it's doing a surge. I am worried about that bit. And that factors into why I looked at this at the start as more of a plane crash. You never want it to happen. I don't consider it economic development. There shouldn't be a situation in which any kind of institutionalization is an economic benefit. And yet there somehow was, because of the situation in Lakeside's with it, what the state has done with its management of former Shutters Creek and now the Elliott Research Forest. Not opposed terribly to doing something in terms of research, but there has to be some planning. And in what was done, that was not there. My expectation in collecting data, one, I was able to acquire the names of the companies. You have to go through a proxy. You never actually talk to ICE. Got contact through somebody I know in Homeland Security. They got me to another guy. That turned out to be a proxy. Got to the actual contractor. So now we know the names. At that point, that is where I should have started talking to community partners and didn't. I would say that was the spot where I started to get road blind and switched lanes. Because there was, in this, a possible solution for Lakeside's problem and a solution for the financial aspect, ensuring we have deputies on the road and jail beds for people when we arrest them. Not necessarily morally grounded in the other concerns I had, which brought me to an understanding of how people get to the positions they get when they look at things out of a desperate attempt. From that point, my intent had been to show what could be done that would solve problems within Coos County, and basically shame the state government was my expectation, and hope that they would find solutions so that there is no potential that this be a solution to anything. It is a challenge if it happened, maybe, for tourism. I'd like, if anybody's going to bring that up, if they have regionally concentrated data. I can find national data. When I researched, I could not find data on impacts within a proximity. But that, I've made a lot of statements on this already. There's plenty of news articles. I recommend the Oregonian. I'm going to move on to other stuff because folks are going to want to address this, and I'll stay around afterwards in case people want to talk about it. I can tell you we have a meeting Friday. I've invited the mayors, anyone they would like to bring. I've encouraged Public Works because the best way to block something is logistics. If there were not a need or capacity, there would not be the possibility. That's not the situation right now. But I've invited the mayors and other community partners, the tribes, to have a conversation about this, something I should have done sooner and didn't. Other things that happened last week, I was appointed to the Local Officials Advisory Committee. That speaks to land conservation and development. So I've been accepted on that board. was recommended by a few people. I believe due to kind of my middle-of-the-road approach on things. I believe we need a balance between conservation and operation. Right now, we know from the 90s, the land use laws in Oregon came about because industry was concerned about a booming state overwhelming access to agricultural land. Today, we lead the country in acres of forest burned. So something we're doing is not going right. In 2024, we had 1.8 million acres burn. The next closest was Texas with 1.3 and California with 1.1. I think it gets less publicity in Oregon because it's usually not people's houses, but we have lost towns. So it does happen. Let's see. Used all the news to elevate some problems, obviously. Lakeside. I was talking with staffers from one of the senator's offices yesterday. Lakeside would like to use the 33 acres that was being looked at, receive that in a land swap, and use it to create parks. That is a way they could address their budget. It would increase necessity for the additional resources, and it would allow them to generate a general fund, which is a much better use of that land. And I appreciate that legislators reached out to me to find solutions. That was what I wanted. I went about it very poorly. Appreciate our Congresswoman. She is doing a lot of work trying to bring more development here. Want to clarify, my frustration should have been directed and was directed towards the state. I am concerned some people got caught in the crossfire. But her folks are also talking about what to do about Lakeside's wastewater side. The ideal would be that it be used to the extent that it not be available for other uses. That's the easiest way to block something. Got a bunch of feedback around drugs, nitrous and kratom. Further input's appreciated. Going to call a meeting coming up. Got a little sidetracked last week by something. And one of the big things that's echoing through is variants of kratom that have 7-OH in them, or 7-O. I don't know much about this, so if somebody wants to help educate me, that is helpful. It'll give us some guidance. Yeah, and that covers that. So now we're going to get to comments. Okay, I was going to wonder about that. I'm going to do in the room first, online second. We know we have 2 online. And that brings us to David Jennings.
Good morning, Commissioners. As you know, my name is David Jennings. I live here in Coquille. I want to comment about ICE. I think ICE is a clear threat to the rights of American citizens and to the people of Coos County. I have always been supportive of law enforcement. I spent my career in juvenile justice. At the same time, the important thing when we're talking about crime or being afraid of it is to remember that ultimately the goal is justice. Back 2 weeks ago, Reuters news agency wrote an article in which they said that at a minimum, there were hundreds of judges that had found that ICE had illegally locked people up at least 4,400 times. From my years of working in juvenile detention, I know that the ICE facilities are a disgrace, and they certainly could not pass inspection under the laws of the state of Oregon for local jails or for juvenile detention facilities. They clearly are a group that is poorly trained. I don't have the time to go into depth of that, but if you look at the videos regarding their enforcement, it's totally ridiculous. And I find it frightening that a group of law enforcement people go into the community wearing masks and poorly trained and use violence to try to intimidate people, which I think is clearly going on. Now, I understand Commissioner Taylor's concerns about criminal elements, but ICE is not targeting predominantly criminal elements. They're targeting a whole bunch of different people, including numerous U.S. citizens, and they're violating the rights of these citizens. It would be extremely destructive to this community to have such a facility here, and it would be extremely destructive to this community to have large numbers of ICE agents wandering around, maybe that isn't the right word, but traveling the streets seeking out people to arrest, especially since they seem to arrest a lot of people in violation of their legal rights. This is a divisive issue. I don't want to use incendiary language, but during my entire life, I've been supportive of law enforcement. I worked in juvenile justice. I've supported every law enforcement levy that's been on the ballot in Coos County and mostly worked actively to pass those. I'm not against the police. I'm not against law enforcement. I'm totally against ICE being here at all. And I realize the commissioners may have a limited role in stopping them, but I think you should try to do what you can to prevent them from coming here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
may I add to my comments or to my non-comments?
Sure.
I had,
Oh, you're going to speak up.
oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to add to my, I guess, non-comment. I had assumed that we would listen to citizen comments today regarding the ICE discussion, and that we as commissioners would, if we felt it necessary, would take it up at a future time.
Yeah.
But since the other two commissioners have voiced their thoughts quite considerably about this, I feel compelled to give you my read on it. I personally agree with David's side, their views. I don't think we should help ICE here beyond what is necessary. All the communications I've had, including some from some of the city leadership, is that they are not interested in having ICE here as well. As far as ICE with using the county facilities, I think by state law, we are not allowed to do that anyway. Lakeside perhaps is a different story, but I don't know.
They are.
So anyway, I thought you should know that each of us seems to have a slightly different view on the ICE issue. And with that, I'll turn it back to citizen comment.
Yeah. And I can clarify, not to speak on Lakeside's behalf, but conversations with folks in leadership over there. They are in a desperate spot. The state did not coordinate with them when they asked for coordination around their wastewater plant. So it is built over a scale for their community because it was built to accommodate the former Shutters Creek if it were to be used for a similar use. And during that time, the state was paying around $18,000 a month. As of January 1st of this coming year, the state wants to drop that to $1,500 a month. It will promptly bankrupt and send Lakeside into insolvency. So that is, I believe, at the core of the reason that would even be considered out there on their behalf, is they are desperate. If we can alleviate that, again, that would disencourage it. Phil.
Phil Thompson, Coos Bay. Well, I wouldn't add anything to what David said. I'm just going to say that I wholeheartedly agree with him, and I think our people deserve better than ICE has been in any of the cities or anything else. We got law enforcement here. There's you can't say all immigrants are criminals. You know, we had rapes, killings right here in Coos County that wasn't done with immigrants. Yeah. So I wish we'd get away from the immigrant BS. But if I was these people here that's going to stand up and talk against ICE, I'd wear a mask and ask them not even give my name. I'd play the same game they're playing. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil. I've been forgetting to ask people where they reside, so we'll come to that coming up. But I think David and Phil are well known to us. That brings us to Mandy Watson.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mandy Watson. I live in Newport, and I'm the Coastal Policy Manager with Oregon Shores. Oregon Shores is a nonprofit dedicated to the resilience of communities and upholding land use law here in the state of Oregon. As I mentioned, I live in Newport, and you know that a similar ICE facility was proposed at our airport. And our community up there really came together against it, and I'm so proud of everyone who turned out here today to speak up against this threat and defend their community against an ICE facility. As you also may know, the state of Oregon and the city of Newport, Fisherman's Wife Association, and environmental organizations, including Oregon Shores, are in active litigation over the proposed ICE facility in Newport because it's still a threat. It didn't just go away. And we're in active litigation because it's the law that federal agencies cannot move forward with the major development on the Oregon coast without complying with NEPA or environmental review processes and required land use laws. And in our case, the Coastal Zone Management Act, and maybe in your case, depending on the facility's location. These laws exist for a reason. They protect coastal ecosystem, working waterfronts, public trust, and interest and well-being of the community. They ensure transparency and community participation before decisions are made. Right now, you've stated that there's no contract in place in Coos County. But I want to be clear, if these rumors begin to materialize like they did for us in Newport, I believe the Commission has a responsibility to act early and decisively. And I urge you to follow in the lead of the state of Oregon and the city of Newport and if federal agencies attempt to bypass coastal land use requirements or environmental law review. In Coos County, you should be prepared to litigate, to defend your authority and protect your community and listen to your community. I hope you're taking notes, Rod Taylor. But thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'd like to visit after this if you're staying.
Yeah.
And I want to clarify again, because I did scare a bunch of people, Congresswoman Hoyle has confirmed that Tom Homan said that there is no plan to put a detention facility in Oregon. Do I trust that? Not really, but that is what was said, and Val has always been straight with me, so I believe he said it. That takes us to, I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty. I think it's Rock. Is it Rock?
Rocky.
Rocky, thank you.
And I live in Coos Bay,
Hi.
Barview, Pigeon Point area,
Okay.
Dairy Queen.
Last name? Sorry.
Doyle.
Doyle. Okay, there we go.
I'm sorry I did not write clearer.
That's okay.
I want to thank you, Commissioner Sweet, Commissioner Farmer, and Commissioner Taylor for this opportunity to speak and for paying me the courtesy of listening. I would also agree very much with the first speaker points he made. I will not reiterate them, although as an old hippie, I was not always on the side of the police or there on my side, so that would be the departure point. I am speaking in opposition to any presence of ICE in Coos County and to any and all cooperation with ICE by Coos County. I know you're familiar with what's going on in the context of this. I'll speak a little bit differently. My remarks were, I'm a little more informed as to where you're at from when I wrote these remarks, but I still would stand by them or still want to go with them. I don't know you as people and only somewhat as politicians. As people, not as politicians, but as people, I wonder where your heart is. Not in the sense of you might be heartless, but in the sense of where is your heart on what ICE has been doing? How does it feel? What is it telling you? My heart is hurting. It hurts at what is being done to people by ICE. I wonder if your heart hurts also, and if you're listening to it. If your heart doesn't hurt, I wonder why not. Does it not comprehend what ICE is doing to people, to human beings? If you see what is being done, I wonder how your heart cannot hurt. I listen to my heart. It compels me to oppose ICE, to speak up, to act, to take action, and to do what I can. I know you are politicians and strive to make reasoned decisions with the calculus of the mind, thought. But you are people first. I hope you check in with your heart, that you listen to it. I hope it leads you to oppose ICE and work against its presence in Coos County. Thank you again for listening.
Thank you. I have to mention, that was almost dead on and probably the most well-written one I've heard outside of a preacher, so thank you. We have Natalie Ranker.
Good morning. My name is Natalie Ranker. I live in North Bend. I applaud the City Council of Coos Bay for their letter of rejection of ICE. I think it covered so many things that are so important to our county. But I think I feel for Lakeside and their problems, but I do not believe an ICE facility with the problems it will create is going to solve any problems for Lakeside, and it certainly will create more problems for us. I do not like the way ICE works. I feel that too much of their actions are based on race and color, and we do not need that here. One of our biggest money earners is tourism, and you will see a great drop in tourism if we have ICE personnel roaming our streets. And we've all seen what happened in Minneapolis, what is still happening in Minneapolis, and that is not something that I would want to happen here. So I urge you all to consider what it will do to our county and what it will do to our communities, because I think we will be pitting person against person, and I do not want that here. And if that is here, I would honestly consider leaving this area. And I've been here for 25 years now, and I love the North Coast, or the South Coast, I guess, but it's the north of the U.S. But I just could not abide that happening in my community. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. And that takes us to, I believe this is Michael Brown. I got it? Yeah. All righty.
I'm Michael Brown. I live in beautiful Coos Bay, past 20-some odd years. I'm not much of a public speaker, but I appreciate all of your efforts on Coos Bay's and Coos County's behalf. Though I don't agree with everything that you do or say, that's moderately irrelevant. I object to ICE on a personal freedom basis. I've lived a privileged life. Life's been good. This country's been great. Predicated on simple constitutional rights. ICE is not following what I believe constitutional mandates. Pretty simple stuff. Every law enforcement agency, except one, has a badge, has a name, and a face associated. That's all I ask. I want to be able to identify who I might, or who might come at me, even though that would be doubtful. They need to be accountable for their actions. And the only way they can be accountable is if we can identify them. Pretty simple stuff. Is the Coos Bay Police Department going to be next? North Bend? They're going to take the numbers off their cars? They're going to take their nameplates off? Are they going to put masks on? Because it changes the dimension of human interaction when I don't even know your name. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't imagine any of the law enforcement in Coos County removing their identity. Yeah. We like to hold each other accountable, I believe. Abby Nip. Did I get it right?
It's Knip.
Knip.
Yeah.
Right, sorry.
It's okay. Everyone gets it wrong. Hello, my name is Abby Knip. I am a resident of North Bend. And I'm here to reiterate what has already been said. I strongly oppose ICE detention facilities in Oregon and on our coast. And in light of the recent rumors of ICE coming to our coast, I wanted to share how these rumors and the irresponsible communication of them have been impacting the people in my life and myself. And so the topic of ICE triggers really deep pain, fear, and trauma for myself and my people, and repair is needed. I am from Minneapolis. My family's in Minneapolis, in the neighborhood where Renee Good was murdered. And I was just there last month. And so it just brings up so many feelings for people. Minneapolis is in utter chaos continuously. They have not left. The horror that people are facing, especially BIPOC community members, it is not just immigrants they're going after, but they're going after any person of color. They have taken friends from my life, detained them unlawfully for 48 hours, abused them, and then left them to walk home in negative-degree weather. It is unspeakable. It is disgusting. And there have been really severe impacts on the economy in Minneapolis and beyond Minneapolis and all the suburbs that is being impacted as well. Hospitals, public safety, students not going to school for fear of being taken by ICE. And so there's severe impacts on people's emotional and physical well-being that is just devastating from a human perspective, as well as when you're feeling this deep, deep-seated anxiety, you're not going to go out, you're not going to go be spending money. You don't want to see ICE patrolling your streets, violently taking people away from you. It impacts not just the people of color, but the white people in the country who aren't facing detainment as much as others. And in Coos County, I've been supporting people in my life because of these rumors and the news articles. It just stirred so much chaos, supporting them, their anxiety and attacks, and trying to figure out a game plan for when and if ICE does come here. And in Coos County, we stand up for our neighbors. We know that migration is a human right. I mean, people after the LA fires, we had lots of people moving here because they no longer had homes. They no longer felt safe in California with the wildfires. Like, people are moving to Coos County, and it is a migration, is a human right. And you, as our leaders, should invest in what we need to thrive, and that is not detention centers. I encourage you to take firm action to ensure that ICE does not come here. And I know that you're working on trying to find a game plan, and I hope you work alongside community members to build out a response plan. Maybe that's a resolution for the county to demand or to communicate that you are not in support of ICE. And we have a lot of creative people in this community. Mandy has already shared one resource. I know we have lots of other people in this community. Road Climate is a great resource. Other people to help secure the land use policies, environmental policies, people to help find creative economic solutions because we want to work with you. So I just reiterate the point to really bring people along with you in a way that is accessible for people to be involved.
If you can stick around for a minute afterwards too, I'd like
Totally.
to learn more.
Thank you.
About what's happening on firsthand. Ashley. Audicki.
Good morning. My name is Ashley Audicki. I'm a Coos County resident. I'm also here as a representative of the climate justice organization Row Climate. While it's been shared that there is no current contract in place with Lakeside or elsewhere in Coos County with the U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement or Department of Homeland Security, but however, we must remain vigilant and continue to organize so that this does not move forward in the future. Words from people and power and leadership carry a lot of weight. When public officials and the media share unconfirmed information, it can deepen anxiety in communities that have already experienced harm, surveillance, such as, not too long ago, a lot of community members were extremely concerned when they were found to be surveyed by during the Jordan Cove LNG proposal and or family separations. So as leaders, there's your role in leadership requires accuracy, care, awareness of impact. Our community deserves transparency, deep community engagement, not just one meeting to check off the box. You got to follow and continue, and ultimately, importantly, leaders who that will really stand to protect our community and not cooperate with ICE. Why does this matter? There was mentions of us and organizations like Oregon Shores here today, and we like to organize alongside South Coast community members, and like what Abby just mentioned. There's more and more and more people moving to this region. And I actually seeked here from a climate community that was facing severe drought. So that led to me to move to Coos County, seeking refuge from climate disasters. And when we take a look at climate modeling, we're in a pretty sweet spot for people that are already facing escalating impacts of climate change. And so by doing that, we want to make sure, by noting that, we want to make sure that we're here to build a more just and livable future where communities can live and thrive and really truly be resilient. And so climate justice and migrant justice are connected. Migrant justice is a human right. Building the just world that we would like to see means that we must fight for policies, resolutions, have more community resources to really support people that are already moving here after facing some form of trauma. And so I ask you guys to not escalate more community fear. I know several of us have been spending a lot of time coaching and reassuring folks about their fears. And a lot of this is could be dealt with and resolved with community care. And so I ask you together, let's keep ICE out of the South Coast. Thank you.
Thank you. Well timed. We had 2 online. We have 3 online. Do we know who was first? Elise. Elise, could you give also your last name and county of residence is fine, or city of community?
Hi, folks. My name's Elise. I use she, her pronouns, and I live here in Northern. Can you hear me okay?
Say again?
Can you hear me okay?
We gotta
Or no?
why that's happening.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Just a minute. I haven't started your timer. We're trying to get it unmuffled. Appreciate you bearing with us.
Got a ticket for that one.
It's important to remember your muffler. I did not earlier this week. Last week.
The audio online is fine, Jeremy. So
Good,
it's
good.
just in the room that we can't hear it.
Would you like me to try again? Does that help?
I'll mention, if you have folks outside that would like to come in, this is a lot fewer people than I expected. Not that I want a crowd, but still, I feel like there might be other people that want to speak.
Oh, you don't like?
Huh? No. Yeah. I isolate when I have the opportunity. Once the weekend hits, I disappear. Unless people email me. While we're trying to figure this out, we might as well. Go ahead. Yep. No. Do introduce yourself, though. You're not on the sheet.
My name's Mary Sue Wheeler. I'm from Charleston, Oregon. I oppose ICE. I pretty much agree with everyone said here. I don't like their tactics, don't like what they're doing in Minneapolis. And I think it would be horrible if they were in our county. I own a little vacation rental in Charleston, and I've already seen pretty much not as much people booking, probably because of other reasons. But if we did have ICE here, I think that would probably go down even more. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I had a thought. It died of loneliness. Oh, I remember what it was. Since you're here, I get told sometimes that folks have seen an ICE vehicle. It has Customs and Border Patrol on the side. I would figure if it's ICE, they don't label it. That is probably a guy named Rob. He is the one customs agent for about 200 miles of coast. So you'll see that vehicle up and down. That is probably not going to be ICE. That's just a guy named Rob. You see a bald guy driving, that would be him. While we're figuring this out, yeah, go for it.
Brandy Martindale, Coquille. I thought there's a lot of people here that oppose ICE, and I would like to add just a different perspective, because we've heard a lot from people who have moved to our beautiful area from somewhere else. We've heard from people who own rentals. We've heard from people who, cite what's going on in other places. I'd like to give the perspective of a third-generation Coos County resident. I have personally been a victim of an attempted sex trafficking abduction. This happened in 2022 on the border of Arizona. 2 men in a white van jumped out and tried to grab me and pull me into the van. So if you'd like to talk about trauma and fear, that's followed me around since that year. As a 105-pound woman, my physical vulnerability is pretty obvious. And so people like me prefer law enforcement. Now, do I agree with like what Drew said? Plussing up causes real problems. We have people who are not as well trained as they should be, doing things to people that they shouldn't be doing. And I really don't think we have a particular problem with illegal immigrants here in Coos County. But I do want to reiterate the fact that illegal immigrants have committed a crime by entering our country illegally. And my husband is the first responder who injects people or gives people Narcan through their nose every time they overdose on the fentanyl that has flooded our open borders over the past 5 years. So there are very real consequences. So some of us don't have the luxury of thinking with our heart. We have not grown up privileged, so we have to face the real consequences of a country who allowed an influx of criminals. Now, a lot of these people who came here illegally have not gone on to commit horrendous crimes, but many of them have. And here in Oregon, we don't even know how many of them have because Oregon doesn't document. I did some digging, and our top 6 human traffickers and fentanyl traffickers were in fact in Oregon on immigration violations. So these crimes have very real impacts on people. And I don't necessarily support bringing in ICE to bring a facility into Coos County. I don't see the real benefit to us. But in all of this testimony, I have not heard one thing mentioned about the victims of illegal immigration and how an unprecedented immigration cleanup should have been the expected result to an unprecedented illegal immigration. That's all I had to say. I would just like to offer some perspective that these ideas do have a different side.
Thank you. You said that's all I have at the perfect 3-minute mark. You're the one closest now. Oh, could you try again online?
Sure thing. Can you guys hear me?
That would be not working yet, I believe.
Darn it. Hopeful.
Oh, bummer. We did that last time and created a very loud feedback loop that nobody wants. It was a good idea, but unfortunately we tried it and it was a bad idea. We've talked about some changes with this. We're coming into budget cycle, so I'm sure we'll be talking about new equipment. For the folks online, until we can figure this out, could you type in the chat if you are opposed or in favor? That's going to be, a lot's been said already, so that would be at least beneficial. What did we have? I should have put on my glasses. I think that's 2 opposed based on the size, and then something that's longer. But different, I do not yet. Yeah, David, could you help me out? Oh. Different info not yet shared. Okay. Something opposed. I agree with you. Yeah, I'm going to abandon that effort.
She agrees with, she agreed with Brandy, but did not. I can't remember the rest of her statement.
Okay. Thank you. How are we looking, Jeremy? Can someone just start talking so we know when this thing kicks on?
Any luck on this end? Any luck? No.
Call it a filibuster of the mic. There you go.
Any luck?
On the bus. That's the one we're doing. I got to get used to those things. I got a munchkin at home. She's discovered she can kick the button on one of the toys that makes noise. And she can't quite slap it. She does just beat the living out of one of her stuffed toys. But
does she know how to replace the battery in it?
No. Oh, good point. But she does know how to scream at me if I don't make it work. Yes. I just assumed everybody was going to do that anyway. Wait. Yep, my little milk piglet still bloats up pretty good when she feeds. I don't want to adjourn the meeting while we've got comments outstanding. But I also don't want to keep everybody.
I put 2 suggestions in. We could mute all but one in the room, or I could call in and other folks could call in and you put that call next to the microphone.
Yeah, I'll hijack John's computer maybe.
If either of those work, let me know.
And there's my messages. Someone asked if there's a number into the room they can call and go on speakerphone. That's something we tried too. created the feedback loop as well.
Darn.
Anti-ICE is anti-law enforcement, according to somebody listed as dad. Coos County should accept any business, local, state, federal, that may provide funding. Turning it down would be, oh, that's kind of mean. We can hear you online. Is there a number to call? Already covered. Here online. Opposed. Different info not yet shared. Opposed. Aaron Noble, North Bend, opposed. Agree with the last speaker. I think that was reference to Brandy.
It was.
Can we mute all but one speaker in the room and try? We did that before too. That didn't go well. Opposed to ICE. Number covered. Elena, do you have a comment typed you could share? Say again? Nope, thought I had input. And make sure you silence your sound on the speaker. Otherwise, yeah, we've done that. Money exchange for concentration camps, shameful. I think
That's a no, probably.
Yeah, I feel like that's a no. All right. Well, we're coming into budget cycle to get better equipment. We took a crack at it. We've read the comments. I might end it here so I can catch up with the two folks I want to talk to. Fellow commissioners, thoughts?
I think we're running out of time.
Running out of time. Say again?
I'm all done.
All done. All righty. That being the case and we being technologically challenged, I will adjourn the meeting and ask that the folks online submit written testimony afterwards. And we are adjourned. Thank you. Yep. All right. There were two of you I was going to bug, and I've already forgotten which. Nope, I remember. It was yourself and the one with the mask. Got it. I am bad with names. I apologize. You can request it through Bobby, I believe.